Libra. This is your tarot reading for the month of July 2019. This tarot reading is a general reading and it can relate to your sun, moon, or ascendant sign. If you feel like the message doesn't fit, feel free to throw it out. Let's get started. So your first card is the moon in reverse. Your second card is the Hanged Man. Your third card is the Lovers in reverse. After that, we have the Magician. We have the Ten of Wands. The Queen of Wands. And the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Your underlying energy is the Death card. Okay. So we have quite a bit of major arcana here. The first week in July is all major arcana. The moon in reverse, the Hanged Man, the Lovers, and then on top of that we have the Magician, and then we have the Death card. So an interesting event in July is going to be the eclipse. And with an eclipse, we can generally find quite an intense moment in our lives. It can be quite energetic and quite, it can be bring things to an end, it can bring new beginnings, can eclipse things out of our life. And so here, this is the Death card, which is our underlying influence. So this is the death of old patterns, old habits. And so with this first week, we have the moon in reverse. What I think this eclipse will do, and I think this is a pattern that's been happening in Libra's life for at least the past year, is that we're having a very interesting internal transformation. It's like the person we used to be is not at all who we're becoming. And so this Death card is a good card to have. This means that we're finally reaching a point in our lives in which we feel that we can turn over a new leaf. And it's good to have the Death card and then the Magician here, because it's like the Death card is getting rid of the old, the Magician empowers us so that we can make choices and bring in new patterns and opportunities into our life. Now this moon card in reverse would suggest that secrets are coming out. Now what these these secrets are, though, is I think it's secrets that are within us. I think things that maybe we haven't really, patterns that have been manifesting for at least the last 7 years that we haven't fully understood. And we haven't understood how much they affect everything about our lives. So with these moment of recognition and awareness that we're having, we then get the Hanged Man, which suggests delays. What I like is that he has this light coming from his head, so it's like there's an information process occurring within him. But while this is happening, while this inner transformation is happening, while you're starting to realize how your inner and outer worlds are conflicted in the past, and how they have informed each other, you might feel very, not so much stagnant as on pause. Now, Mercury, I believe, will go retrograde on the 7th of July. However, I think that this sort of pause has more to do with this long-standing transformation that we've been having. It's after there's this death of this ego, this final death that has been wanting to occur for the last year. For this last year, you may have found that you have been changing, and you've been becoming very aware of your environment and yourself. And, you know, I think most of the pain of those changes are completely past. Death in itself, that final death, isn't painful. Everything leading up to it is painful. So the pain is mostly out of your life, which is good. After the Hanged Man, we have the Lovers in reverse. And I think this Lovers in reverse is probably informing this Moon card in reverse. So these patterns that you're becoming aware of, they may have to do with love relationships. This may also have to do with a twin flame relationship, but I think this pattern goes beyond that. What may have triggered this large transformation in you may have been a relationship. So immediately, because the Lovers are in reverse beside the Hanged Man, I'm not sure I see a lot of love that's going to be manifesting in this month. It may have more to do with self-love, but we will clarify that. And then towards the middle of the month, you have the Magician. You're quite ready to act, to make things happen. He is poised to make something manifest in front of him. What I like is that he has a pentacle, a cup, a sword, and a wand in front of him. He can choose to manifest one of these things, or he could completely change his life I manifest 4 new different things. This card is like the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles all in one. Instead of the universe handing you something, you will be putting in the effort to cause your new reality. And it's great that we have an end of the stagnancy or pause or lack of manifestation that turns into manifestation with the Magician. Moving on, towards the end of the month, we have the 10 of Wands. This is a finish. You're finishing something. Something that's been heavy. And then after that, we have the Queen of Wands. With these two cards, the 10 of Wands and the Queen of Wands, I see a leveling up here. You've been putting in work to become this Queen of Wands. Someone who's confident and motivated and passionate. After that, we have the 4 of Coins. The 4 of Coins in the upright can signify that we're being greedy. In the reverse, it can still be holding on too tightly. What are we trying to let go of? Do we need to be more careful with our finances? This could be a message towards being more careful. With our material gains. So let's begin to clarify some of these. And I think the beginning and the middle has a very clear message. So the 4 of Cups came out. And we have the 10 of Cups and 8 of Swords in reverse. So we have 2 10s. So I just adjusted the camera so hopefully you can see the cards a little bit better. So we have 2 10s here. We have the 10 of Wands and then we have 10 of Cups. Both signifying a completion or a climax of some sort. The 10 of Wands is an exhausting finish, and like we were saying, it's a leveling up. going from the Ten of Wands to the Queen of Wands. It's like you put in lots and lots of effort, and now you have a new standing. Similarly, with the clarification of these cards, we have a Four of Cups that ends up being the Ten of Cups. This is a leveling up. The Four of Cups in the Rider-Waite Tarot is the universe handing you a cup and you not being interested in it. So maybe that this is that you have done the best that you could have done with what the universe has offered you so far. Libra, it's like, and this is such a general reading that I don't know if this message would apply to everyone, but it's like you have been doing the best and putting the best effort with what you've had, with what opportunities you've been given for your whole life, basically. But you start to become dissatisfied with that. Perhaps you didn't have many other options. Perhaps maybe you were limited financially in your life, or you had certain relationships that you were limited and or you felt like you had to deal with certain relationships that were in your life. Maybe you weren't quite ready to cut them out. Maybe you felt like you were almost like you were supposed, you felt responsible for certain relationships that were sort of given to you, but you didn't necessarily choose yourself. And now you're feeling like, what is there? There has to be more. I am done, and I've done everything I can with these Four Cups. I am not happy with these Four Cups anymore. And this is again where I think we have a leveling up here. We go from all of this that you've carried, you become a new person. You're not carrying as much, but this woman is liberated and she's empowered. And instead of carrying 9 other wands, she's carrying a sunflower. So you may be choosing to cut out a lot of the relationships in your life, I think. A lot of the things you've been somewhat passionate about, and you're changing them up. You're changing them to something new. And because this is the Four of Cups that turns into the Ten of Cups as well, again, this is a big leveling up. And it's so interesting because there's one person, maybe you felt lonely. Maybe you've had a very lonely life. But now that's going to be changing. It's not so much that you'll get so many more people in your life, but you'll feel an abundance with what you have, I think. This woman has 3 children. Perhaps you'll be starting a family. But we also have the Queen of Wands, who's so independent. So no matter if you're starting new relationships or after you've cut some out in your life, you'll still be feeling the sense of independence, which I think has occurred from so many years of perhaps feeling quite alone and unsatisfied with the relationships you had in your life. Maybe you felt like you were doing all the work or you're someone who, and Libras, of course, they like to stay with the relationships past their prime, and they like to do work in relationships. So much to the point where they don't always get effort back from the other person, and it can be a very lonely life, actually, if that's the case. But I think that is changing, and maybe that's one of these major trends that are changing with this Death card and this Magician. Maybe sometimes when we have people in our lives, we want to change them, and other times we just want to have a good effect on them. Not necessarily change them, but maybe just widen their perspective slightly. And sometimes we can't actually do that, and it's not our responsibility to do that either. And sometimes we do have an effect on someone, but that effect doesn't actually occur until the relationship's gone. But regardless, I love this Queen of Wands. I think this represents you and who you're going to be. And I think it's really beautiful that she's chosen one wand. Of all of these 10, she's like, I can't do this anymore. She's chosen the one that's most important to her, and then she's maybe traded the rest of them in for something that she thought was more beautiful and special. And like I said, you might be starting a family. And again, so we have this sort of the Four of Pentacles in reverse at the end of the month. So the Four of Pentacles in reverse, it can mean that you are, it can be a kind of a warning sign for not having enough money, or like a financial breakdown, or just like maybe things are going out constantly, like we're constantly making expenditures, but we're not actually making enough money to make those expenditures. However, there could be a second way to interpret this, particularly with the rest of the spread that I think fits. And that's because we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. So Eight of Swords in reverse, you know, like especially normally in the upright, it's someone wearing a blindfold. And in this case, with it being in reverse, it can mean taking off that blindfold and being aware. So perhaps all of this life, this previous life you've had, perhaps it's affected your finances somewhat, and you are now looking at the situation more clearly. You're taking a look at this, at the your financial scope and what you thought you were capable of. Eight of Swords in reverse can be self-limiting beliefs. So that's also a positive thing. Another thing too is that something that I've found lately is that I feel like I'm changing quite a bit, and I feel like I'm not necessarily minimalist, but I feel like I want to get rid of a lot of old stuff that I have. I just want it. I want it gone from my life. And so with this being a material card, this Four of Pentacles in reverse, this could be you wanting, along with this fresh start in your world, to be wanting to surround yourself with a fresh environment, which could be, you know, giving away things to the Goodwill. It could be finding some small things that are new, that reflect you, and putting them in your home, in your environment. So I think this actually, and I think, you know, honestly, all of those messages could be true within this one reading, that you need to be careful about spending too much, that you're becoming aware of how your reality and how your past beliefs have affected your spending, and that also you have a new version of what and how you want to have a material world around you, and how you want to interact with materials. So it's it's almost like a separate message. Like it kind of ties in with this, but this is like a separate message for Libra. So let's find out how this energy, this entire energy, is going to transfer for the month of August. How it's going to evolve in the month of August. Let's messages for Libra, please, for the month of August. Well, this kind of wanted to come out, so this is the Devil in Reverse. Put that right here for now. Well, and I'll do this so that the camera can actually see me shuffling as well. Okay, and we have the Five of Cups in reverse. Is there anything new? Oh, okay. So Nine of Cups in reverse and the Hierophant in reverse. I'm just going to get rid of these cards. You might be feeling like things are a little bit tricky with the Nine of Cups in reverse. But you're not really crying over things that have spilled before. You're not crying over the past anymore. You're coming out of that, which is good. We have this Hierophant in reverse. Which means that maybe we're not ready to enter into commitment yet. So this Nine of Cups can be our inner happiness. With this Nine of Cups, I'm being drawn to notice that there's also a spilled cup right here. But these people don't care. They're happy. So it's like there could be a spill along the way. There could be a hiccup. But I think what this is mostly saying is that you will be releasing this toxicity, continuing to do that, living without toxicity. You're not going to be crying over things anymore. And you're not going to be committing to anything either. And you're going to be living largely with your own inner happiness, which is a huge change for Libra. Because Libras are about commitment. The Hierophant represents Taurus, not Libra. But Libras are very much about commitment. So you're going to be basically doing you in a very spiritually rewarding way. And I don't think this is going to be a transformation that, you know, a lot of people talk about the Secret, and they talk about the law of, I think, attractivity, is it? About how if you really believe in something, you make a change, you can attract something immediately into your life. I don't think it works like that, and I think that's kind of what this is saying. I think in order to get a good life, you have to kind of become used to being yourself and being in this new space and in this new state of mind. I don't see anything new coming in for you except this inner happiness, and it seems like this inner happiness needs to dwell a little bit. You have the Magician earlier that we talked about. So you do have the power of manifesting things in your life, but what I think happens is that you just need to kind of get used to this new space that you're in, of not being in toxicity and not worried about your relationships, and just kind of being happy within yourself, which I think is what this Nine of Cups is talking about. And this Hierophant too. You had the Lovers in reverse over there. It's like you're not opening yourself up to commitment quite yet. So maybe you're just going to be very much at peace in this new space. And then maybe after you've gotten used to this peace for a little bit, that's when you can start a new relationship, or that's when you can really start something brand new. But everything is new for you right now anyway. You're kind of in this space of potential energy, which I think is what I'll title the name of this video. And in order for that potential energy to really come to fruition, you're just going to let this energy build a little bit, this potential build a little bit inside of you, so you can become more sure of yourself and used to this new space as well. And then maybe what you'll do is, when you feel like you want to, you'll start a new relationship. Or a new job, or a new financial endeavor. A new idea, a new hobby, new friendships. But this is mostly going to be you feeling new. And you being in a very stable environment. Okay, well, I hope this was helpful, Libra. This was a little bit more actually difficult for me to do. It was a little more complex. Interpreting all the cards for this one, I don't know if you can tell from the manner of which I'm speaking or not, but it was a little bit more complex for me. Okay, well, I hope this helped, and I will see you in August. Bye, Libra.